What if the most powerful person in your life is a small, invisible child? A child who lives within you in the quiet, unlit rooms of your subconscious. A child who, despite your adult age, your responsibilities, and your accomplishments, is secretly pulling the strings, directing your reactions, choosing your partners, and writing the script for your biggest fears. You don't see them. You may not even believe they are there, but you feel them. You feel them in the sudden wave of anxiety that has no logical source. You feel them in the relationships that follow the same painful pattern. You feel them in the reactions that are far bigger than the present moment seems to warrant. This is the reality of the wounded inner child. It is not a sentimental or childish concept. It is a profound psychological truth. It is the echo of the small person you once were, with all of their unmet needs, their unprocessed pains, and their brilliant, heartbreaking survival strategies. When those needs for safety, love, attunement, and validation were not consistently met, a part of you became frozen in time, still waiting, still hurting, still trying to get what it never got. And that part of you, without your conscious permission, often takes the wheel of your adult life. Let's gently pull back the curtain and look at 7 things that people with these deep inner child wounds do, often without ever knowing why. This is not a journey of judgment. It is a journey of compassionate recognition, of finally understanding the ghost in your own machine. The first thing you might do is engage in chronic people-pleasing. You are a master of anticipating the needs of others. You are kind, accommodating, and pathologically averse to conflict. You say yes when your entire being is screaming no. You do this not because you are exceptionally nice, but because a part of you is terrified. The wounded child within you learned a critical, and often painful, lesson. My safety and lovability depend on my ability to keep others happy. My needs are a problem, but their needs are my responsibility. As a child, keeping a caregiver happy might have been your only strategy to maintain peace or to receive any crumbs of affection. So now, as an adult, someone else's displeasure doesn't just feel like a disagreement. It feels like a primal threat of withdrawal or abandonment. You are not just trying to be helpful. A part of you is still performing to survive. The second and deeply related behavior is an intense and pervasive fear of abandonment. This can manifest as anxiety when a partner doesn't text back immediately, a need for constant reassurance in your relationships, or an inability to be alone. To an outsider, it may look like clinginess or insecurity, but from the inside, it is the raw terror of that small child who once felt unsafe, unseen, or literally or emotionally left alone. A minor conflict or a moment of distance in your adult relationship is filtered through the lens of that child's past. Your adult brain knows you will be okay, but the child inside is re-experiencing the life-or-death terror of being abandoned by a caregiver. You are not just reacting to the present moment. You are reacting to the accumulated fear of a lifetime, a fear held in the body of a child who had no power. The third unconscious habit is a profound difficulty with boundaries. This often shows up in one of 2 extremes. Either you have porous, non-existent boundaries, you overshare, take on other people's problems as your own, and allow others to take advantage of your time and energy. Or you have rigid, impenetrable walls. You let no one get close. You trust no one. You isolate yourself to stay safe. Both are a response to the same core wound. The child within you either never had their personal space or emotional autonomy respected, so they don't know how to create healthy fences. Or their vulnerability was so exploited and punished that they built a fortress and refused to lower the drawbridge for anyone. Healthy, flexible boundaries, the kind that can be firm when needed but soft when safe, feel foreign because you were never taught how to build them. The fourth thing you do is carry a relentlessly harsh inner critic. You berate yourself for the smallest mistakes. You hold yourself to impossible standards of perfection. You speak to yourself with a cruelty you would never direct at another living being. This voice is not your own. It is an echo. It is the internalized voice of a critical parent, a demanding teacher, or a society that made you feel you were never good enough. The child inside you heard these messages so many times that they came to believe them as the absolute truth. Now, that child part of you either perpetuates the abuse by criticizing you in the same way, or it uses criticism as a twisted form of protection, thinking, if I am harder on myself than anyone else, I can preempt their criticism and maybe, finally, be perfect enough to be loved. This leads to the fifth behavior: having big emotional reactions that seem disproportionate to the situation. A small piece of feedback at work feels like a devastating indictment of your entire character. A friend canceling plans feels like a profound personal rejection. You might be labeled as too sensitive or dramatic, but what others don't see is that you are time traveling. The present-day event has triggered the tripwire of an old, unhealed wound. You are not just reacting as your adult self. The wounded child within you has hijacked your nervous system, and you are feeling the full, unprocessed agony of a past event. The pain of being criticized by your father, the loneliness of being the last one picked at school. That pain is erupting in the present. You are not overreacting to what is happening now. You are finally reacting to what happened then. The sixth unconscious habit is a constant, desperate search for external validation. You might be a high achiever, driven to collect degrees, promotions, and accolades. Or you might be addicted to the approval of a partner, or the likes and comments on social media. You are always looking outside of yourself for proof that you are okay, that you are worthy. This is because the child within you never developed a stable, internal sense of self-worth. A child builds their sense of value by seeing it reflected in the proud and loving eyes of their caregivers. They need to be told and shown that they are loved and good enough simply for being, not for doing. If you didn't receive that, the child inside you is still hungry for it. They are still looking for that good job, that I'm proud of you, that gold star, from anyone who will give it, hoping it will finally fill the emptiness inside. And finally, the seventh thing you might do is find it almost impossible to truly play or rest. You may feel a constant humming anxiety when you are not being productive. You might feel guilty for relaxing, for doing something just for the fun of it. The wounded child within you may have learned one of two things. Either they had to grow up too fast, taking on adult responsibilities, and never having the chance to learn the language of play. Or they learned that their value was entirely based on their performance and utility. Play was frivolous, rest was lazy. So now, as an adult, your inner child doesn't know how to do it. It equates stillness with worthlessness, or even danger. The relentless drive to be productive is not ambition. It's the child's desperate attempt to continue proving their worth, terrified that if they stop doing, they will cease to be worthy of love. If you recognize yourself in these patterns, know this: you are not flawed. You are a survivor who developed a brilliant set of strategies to get through an impossible time. The problem is that these strategies, which once kept you safe, are now keeping you stuck. So what is the path forward? It is not to ignore this child, to silence them, or to wish they would go away. The path to becoming a whole adult is not to amputate the parts of you that are still hurting. The path is to turn toward them. The journey is to finally give that small, invisible child what they have always been waiting for: a safe and loving parent. And that parent is you, the wise, compassionate adult, you. Healing is the slow, sacred process of reparenting yourself. It's learning to tell your inner people-pleaser, it's okay to say no, your needs matter. It's learning to whisper to the terrified child, I am here, I will not abandon you. We are safe now. It's learning to set boundaries as an act of fierce love for the part of you that was never protected. It's about confronting the inner critic and saying, that is not my voice. It's about holding your inner child through their big feelings and saying, I see you, I hear you, it's okay to feel this way. It's about learning to validate yourself, to be proud of yourself. And it is about giving your inner child explicit permission to do the one thing they may have never been allowed to do: simply rest and simply play. This is the journey from being unconsciously directed by your past to consciously building your future. It is the most important work you will ever do. It is the process of finally calling all the lost parts of yourself home. If you heard the voice of your own inner child in this story, you are so much closer to them than you think. This recognition is the beginning of everything. If you feel comfortable, share a thought in the comments. And if you'd like to continue this journey with us, please subscribe. Be kind to all parts of yourself. The child within you is listening.